In this video, I'm going to talk about the advantages of fractional integrators. The main topics will be finding out if a fractional integrator might be right for you and your business, the advantages and disadvantages of fractional integrators, and how to get started. So first off, they're really fast to start. Fractional integrators have capacity on their teams to get started right away. It could be, within a week or two at the most. There's no requirement to provide a 2-week notice and all the other things that come along with a regular W-2 employee. Experience is one of the most important parts. Oftentimes, I feel like there's a misconception out there that fractional integrators lack experience, and in some cases that may be the case, but in most cases, we are highly experienced. We're looking to provide a fraction of our experience to small businesses that need it. We're able to bring in all of the lessons learned throughout our careers and help businesses quickly navigate the challenges that they're in, because in a lot of cases we've already been through those. And we know the shortcuts and we know the warning signs. I would encourage anybody looking to consider a fractional integrator as opposed to someone else stepping into the seat is to really consider the experience. Think of it as your guide through a maze or to a destination far away. Although it may be cheaper to hire somebody that's never been there before, it's definitely going to be faster and easier to go with the person that has already done it, knows the wrong turns, knows the dead ends, and knows the warning signs for trouble ahead. Next is you're only paying for the expert COO or integrator that you need. So a lot of times small businesses, the owners believe that, this is a very large role because when they've tried to fill it or other people on their team have tried to fill it, it's been something that was either difficult, or maybe that's why you're considering looking for fractionals because it's not being fulfilled. And there may be a thought that, okay, this is really hard to do and it's going to take somebody a lot of time to do it. And I don't know if somebody working only 8, 10, 15, or 20 hours a week can do it. And let me be the first to tell you, on behalf of most fractionals out there, we will tell you if we think it is an overwhelming job. None of us want to come into a company and have anything go wrong. We all want the best outcome. At least that's what I believe. So speaking for myself, I can say that is for sure the case. If it is a role that is too big to fulfill in a fraction of the time, I think myself and many others that I know, many of my peers would quickly tell you that. But in a lot of cases, it's because perhaps the wrong person has been attempting to do it. And visionaries out there, if you've attempted to do it, it's probably very difficult. We all know that if we've read Traction. But for those of us that are experienced, some of those challenges that could take hours, could take us minutes. The challenges that may take weeks may take us just a few days, and so on and so forth. Why? Because of experience. If you had to do something that you never did before, obviously you have to do a lot of research and you may do things wrong and then have to backtrack. So our experience is huge, and you're only going to pay for all that expert experience. If you want a rock to hire a HR director, we've probably hired HR directors, and we're going to know really quickly like what we need to do to get to that place, and we're just going to do that. We're not going to take all the wrong turns. So you're only going to pay for the right turns. We're not only managers, we're leaders. And there's a distinction between managers and leaders. And leaders can lead departments of leaders or department leaders. So think of it as the true definition of an integrator is somebody that can harmonize the leadership team, meaning, finance, sales, marketing, operations, all those different roles. Some integrators, fractional integrators, may sit in some of those seats. You may hire a fractional integrator that also sits in the department of finance and is the leader of that department, or is the leader of sales. But the important thing is this person is capable of not only managing themselves, but the other leaders of the other departments, and making sure that it is the entire organization operates in harmony. Next is faster hiring. Again, many of us have hired dozens, possibly hundreds of people over our career. It won't only be faster to hire us, but it will be faster for us to hire the additional people that are necessary to achieve the vision. And again, we have diverse experience. This oftentimes is looked at as a negative. I've talked to countless number of visionaries who say, do you have experience in, say, medical or in hospitality or in, real estate? And although a lot of us do, and those of us that have firms and teams, we can extend that experience to our team, and we can say, yes, we have real estate experience. Yes, we have hospitality experience or marketing experience or whatever it might be. But we have a lot of those experiences, and all of that is necessary in a business, so don't get so focused on making sure that the integrator for you has the experience in your domain, although that is important, and I'm not trying to discount that. And there are certainly spaces where it's absolutely paramount, like maybe something like legal or something like that. But in most cases, the important experience is the experience on how to grow a company, lead leaders, develop strategies for how to retain and recruit the best talent, those types of things, and those are relatively industry agnostic. So I just went through some of the advantages. I believe there's many more, but of course I certainly have some bias, and I'm not trying to disclaim that. So there are some other things to consider. So in a real life scenario, when you're hiring a direct employee, let's just say, for example, I'm going out to hire an integrator, and as a visionary, I've toiled on this and I've thought about this for a long time, maybe, weeks, months, years. Finally take the plunge. It's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hire that integrator. So I do all the work, work with a recruiter, write job descriptions, do all this work, put in, could be several months worth of work just to get to the place to start to recruit integrators. So then, you go through a laborious process of interviews and potentially, testing and scoring and all these different things that I'm not discounting. I think they're all very important, but you go through all that. And what ultimately happens is you decide, hopefully you find that right candidate or the person that you believe to be the right candidate, you hire them. On day one, if it's not a right fit, or let's say it's day 30, and the visionary is feeling like, I just am not getting a great sense of this particular person. Or the integrator has realized, maybe I've bit off more than I can chew, or I don't fit in as well as I thought I would, or there's some other things that are making this a challenge, and I'm starting to reconsider this. This is a real life scenario. I mean, I talk to a lot of people, this happens frequently. But neither party in that case is really compelled to want to end the relationship. If I just quit a job and got hired at a company, I'm not going to probably within 30 days say, I don't think this is working out. I think I'm going to go look for a new job. Obviously, it's not good for your resume. It's not good for, for a number of reasons. And the visionary or the leader of the company and the other leadership team members, although despite what is recommended, which would be to part ways with that person as quickly as possible, oftentimes because they're empathetic, and kind of want to give it, say, okay, let's give it 60 days, let's give it 90 days, let's give it a few months to, make excuses. Maybe they're just not comfortable yet. Maybe they haven't built all the relationships. But ultimately, you can go on for a long time, potentially quarters of time. And in a different video that I have out there, I talked about the importance of quarters, and on a 10-year plan, you only have 40 quarters. And if you were to miss, 2 or 3 of them because you had the wrong integrator, the most important person in trying to get to your vision was wrong for, 2 or 3 months of that 40, that will be hugely detrimental and difficult to recover from. So my point on this is, it's early on, it's difficult to have the truth. And for me, I can speak for myself. When I get into these roles, it's very easy for me to look the visionary in the eye and say, I don't think, based on my experience, that doesn't sound like the right approach. And I don't have a fear necessarily of being fired and having to look for a new job next week. In fact, I have a fear of not aggressively moving toward these things to produce the outcomes that I really want to maintain our relationship. At our company, we go month to month. So if I'm not doing a good job each month, I'm sort of on the chopping block. Now, of course, in the relationships that we build, that's not how it feels. And certainly we have never, been in a situation where after 1 or 2 months, we're asked not to be part of the team. So our relationships are really long. But what I'm getting at is in real life, it's really difficult. We all know it's really difficult to find that right person. And once we think we found the right person and we hire them, if it's not the right person, all parties are sort of geared toward making it feel right as long as possible or as long as reasonable. After 6 months or something, either the integrator may say, you know what, I don't think this is the right fit, I'm going to leave, or the visionary may say, you know what, we've been trying this for 6 months, so now it's time for you to leave. But you've lost 6 months of your business there. So I just want to make sure that that is something that is real. And worst case scenario, you hire a fractional and you go, maybe this isn't working. You can change that out 2 or 3 times in a few months. I've never heard of that, but it's definitely possible. Also, fractional integrators can define the role and help find a great replacement. So once we're in the role, a lot of times it's the first time this business has had the integrator role really on their accountability chart and supported by a separate individual that wasn't doing another role on the team. So we're able to define that role well and understand the nuances of the team, all the other strengths of the team and the other team members, and say, the next integrator we get that's going to replace me, we're growing so fast and there is so much work and all these things are happening, so we need to probably find a replacement. We can help write that job description and say, this person really needs to, maybe have a really strong EQ or a really strong finance component or a really strong, sales or marketing component to supplement other parts of the team. We'll be able to assess that and experience that and talk about that with the other leaders, and then ultimately develop a great job description, have terrific interviews, and then onboard and train that replacement. There's no real arbitrary date out there that's like, we have to find this person in 3 months, because if worst case scenario, the fractional integrator goes 1 more month. So those are other things to consider. And then if you want to get started with this, obviously if you have a EOS implementer, many of those implementers have fractional integrators that they work closely with, and they might be able to make some recommendations for you. For me personally, when I work with an implementer, or when people on our team work with the implementers, we find it is truly the rocket fuel, because now you have an experienced integrator working with a great implementer on EOS. And this is where those low scores of 80% rock completion, we're blowing those out of the water, and we're just crushing through rocks, crushing through all the things we need to do to have an amazing quarter, amazing year, amazing 3 years, and ultimately a 10-year vision. So you can obviously search the web and LinkedIn. You can reach out to us at outcomescoo.com or email info@outcomes. I hope you found this video beneficial, and I look forward to hearing from you if you're in the fractional integrator space. Thanks a lot.